So I mentioned in a previous video that Tom King had started a new series called Danger Street, which I assume is probably a 12-issue limited series. And so I went out and I bought the hardcover. This is the DC's first issue specials, based on a series from 1975. The idea behind it was apparently, somebody jokingly said something about how DC's the best-selling comics were always the first issue, and so I guess Carmen Infantino decided, hey, let's do a series of just all first issues, except they aren't all first issues. It Even though it's called first issue specials, each issue had its own number. So it lasted 13 issues, and apparently Tom King is going to take this idea, or these disparate characters, and produce one series. Right here you could see this is clearly Atlas, and there's Atlas there. So I read through this, and I thought it was very interesting. There's some good stuff. There's some not so good stuff. But I thought I'd go through real quick each one of these. So it starts off with Atlas by Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby's one of my all-time favorites. I love Jack Kirby. This one is kind of it's a little bit forgettable. Not his best stuff, but not too many people really did anything with the character after this. It's so close to the movie version of Conan that I almost wonder if Conan didn't kind of steal some of the ideas from Atlas. In this comic, Atlas appears and he's blue, and he says the sky is falling, and I have no idea why. Even after reading the comic, I don't know why. The next one is the Green Team, which I thought was an interesting concept. This is Joe Simon and Jerry Grandinetti. And basically it's a club of rich kids, and it costs $1 million to get in the club, and they're just kind of doing things like they're good. So they're doing, I guess, heroic things, using the power of money. I thought it was. I think it's an interesting series. Now, I get the impression, based on what I've seen in here, that these guys are going to be the villains, even though they're good here. So, and I think it actually kind of makes sense. Got to make somebody the villains. So, Metamorpho. This is where the series kind of loses its focus. Metamorpho was an existing character, and so I guess maybe they were just testing the waters to see if people were interested in a new Metamorpho series. It's a standalone story, and it's fine. It's okay. Nothing special. Lady Cop. I love Lady Cop. She is literally what the title says. She is a lady cop. And so she's just dealing with regular, ordinary. So her motivation to become a cop is because she witnessed her friends being murdered by some guy with boots. And so you could see their bodies falling, and then he drops these cards on them, and it's really creepy. He says, plenty of cards left in my deck to deal with the chicks I'm going to meet, all aces of spades. So he's a very ruthless, callous killer. So she becomes a cop, and she's just dealing with regular issues like, domestic violence and venereal disease. Not hers, but somebody else. So apparently the character did appear in other things, but I don't know. The point was she was going to hunt down the killer of her friends, so it is unresolved, completely unresolved at the end. Manhunter is basically another incarnation of a character that's been reused in DC, which is the Manhunter. This is another Jack Kirby thing, and I thought it was fine. Borrows other ideas. Dingbats of Danger Street. I like this one. I thought this was, and this is the title of this is Danger Street. So the Dingbats are just a group of kids, sort of an oddball, but they're actually fighting kind of super villains at this point. So they're non-superpowered, although they do have weapons. The gasser and jumping jack, and then the police get involved. I thought it was fine. I mean, very rarely do I read anything from Jack Kirby that I don't enjoy. The Creeper. So this is another kind of like Metamorpho, where I think they were just testing the waters, see if anybody was interested. So it's just a standalone story with him fighting Firefly. Each one of these stories, are actually I think one doesn't, but they have intros here, whether it be to introduce the characters or the artists behind it, or just to beg people to show interest so they can make a new series. Warlord. So this is one of the few successes in this series. Warlord went on to have a 13-year series. I see a lot of influence from Edgar Rice Burroughs in the story. I never read Warlord, but I certainly was aware of him when I was growing up. And here's another one that's a little bit of an oddball, which is Dr. Fate, because I don't know. I don't know if they were trying to make a new series or if they just decided to do a Dr. Fate story. So I don't think it turned into anything. But I'd actually read, this was the only one in here that I'd read before. It had been reprinted somewhere else. It is a really good story and kind of memorable. The Outsiders. This is there's been a few Outsiders teams in DC, and this is one that I don't know has ever been used again. This is the only one on here that is not hyperlinked. So, whoops. So, seems like maybe nobody had any interest. Basically, the point of the Outsiders is they are freaks, not like freaks like the X-Men, but really odd-looking characters. And it's interesting in here that this apparently the inspiration for this was the movie Freaks from 1932, black and white film. This one, I think is this Joe Simon again? Yeah, Joe Simon and Jerry Grandetti, and then whoever Krieg Flagel is. It's okay. Nothing really becomes of it. Codename Assassin. This is not what I expected when I saw the name on there. Assassin is just another superhero character. He does have powers. I didn't expect that in a story called Codename Assassin, but he has some mental powers. And I thought this was an interesting concept. I'm not surprised nothing came of it, but he actually has a very definite reason why he's got into crime fighting, and apparently he's got a doctor or a psychiatrist or whatever who says he's got mental problems. We really didn't get to explore it enough, and it does leave on a cliffhanger. So apparently the character did appear again. He even has in here a hyperlink, and I did follow it, but I don't really pay that close attention. But he has had, I'd never heard of him, but I guess he's had a little bit of a career. Starman is kind of a reinvention of the Starman character, although he's nothing like it. The original Starman was Ted Knight with his cosmic rod. This is just another alien, in this case, blue-skinned alien with superpowers. It was all right. Nothing really that special. Which is probably why the character has rarely ever been used. Another character I can't recall ever having read anything featuring him, and this one ends on another cliffhanger. So then we have the Return of the New Gods. Now, personally, I'm Jack Kirby, like I said, is one of my all-time favorites, and the New Gods, I think, was his pinnacle. And having taken over, somebody else taking over New Gods, I generally am not interested. This is Orion, although you could see his costume is radically changed and not improved. Everyone else looks kind of the same. If I had issues, okay, so basically the story is very simple, but I think it was in the vein of Jack Kirby, so I didn't have a problem with the story. What I do have a problem with is the artwork, which I thought was terrible. And it's funny because there were some, I think in the beginning of well, it's talking about Mike Vosburgh. Somewhere in here, I could swear they talk about how nice it is to have Mike Vosburgh. I don't know. I think it looks awful. I think that it could, particularly compared to Jack Kirby. I don't like it. Don't like the costume change, and apparently probably nobody else did either because I've never seen it used again. So this one is the only other one other than Warlord that got a continuing series. I'm not sure. I don't think it lasted that long. But I thought the writing was fine. I think my only problem is Metron, I think, is completely out of character. I don't think that, what is it, Denny O'Neil or Gary Conway, I don't think they captured he seemed very, like a, just an out and out good guy, whereas I always pictured him as very non-emotional. He says, "Dear friend, your expression betrays distress." I don't see Metron talking like that, but he kind of does that all through here. So anyway, there was I don't think I learned a lot that increased my knowledge of this one. The one that I did, I think the biggest revelation was actually Lady Cop. In this comic, there is a moment in there where you see this scene in there kind of played out. And I thought it was like a forward in time. I thought it was Lady Cop that this guy was throwing, that looked like he killed her and threw a card down. So I didn't understand that must have been a memory of hers. And it's interesting because Tom King in this case is kind of expecting you maybe to know stuff about this very obscure series. I am very fascinated with this series, and I think that what fascinates me the most with what Tom King is doing is he's taking all these stories that have nothing to do with each other, and creating one story, and it's like, who is the audience for this? I mean, people like me, weirdos like me, who like drawing together, pulling together these disparate stories and weaving in something. Yeah, I like that, but most people, I'm not sure that many people would be into it. So it certainly doesn't seem like like it would be a interest to a ton of fans. But Tom King always seems to be more interested in telling a story than in complete marketability, because characters like the Human Target are fairly obscure. So I give him a lot of respect for doing his own thing. And I'm very interested to see where this series is going. There's going to be another comic next week, and definitely I have both that and the Human Target on pre-order. And actually both of them are coming out at the same time, so I wish they kind of not done both at the same time. But Tom King really is the only thing at DC I'm reading now. So I think this is worth a pickup, particularly for people who like kind of these strange offbeat series. And it only lasted 13 issues, so you can get the whole series in this this book, this hardbound book. Anyway, so that's and yeah, as I mentioned, Danger Street is taken from the Dingbats of Danger Street. So that's DC's first issue specials, the hardcover.